Okay, so today we're going to do a quick review of naming our shapes. Then we're going to be describing our shapes by the number of corners today. And then at the end you're going to show what you know. We already talked about in our last class our sides of our shapes. And now we're talking about our corners. So our sides are when we trace all the way around. The corners are when those sides meet. So if we look at our square here, everywhere they meet, we can find some corners. That's where our sides are meeting. Let's take a look at our rectangle. I'm going to turn your pen on, and I want you to find the corners just like I did on the square and give them a circle. So go ahead and circle. Where do you see the corners on this rectangle? Where are some of those corners at? Where are those lines meeting? Good. There's one. You see another? Good. Try it on the triangle too. Where do you see some corners on that triangle? And then you can try these other shapes too. Where do you see some corners? Good. There's some corners. You see any more? Ooh. Good. In our star we have some that point out and some that point in. There are corners in both of those places. Good job. Seeing some corners on our other shapes, on our trapezoid, on our pentagon, on our star, on our hexagon, and even our octagon. We're finding lots of corners there. Awesome. You guys found lots of corners there. I'm not seeing any circles to show corners on our circle or oval. Raise your hand if you can tell me, why do we not see any corners on our circle or oval? What don't you see? Ronnie, how come we don't have any circles there?
There's no sharp edges, just round.
Yes, it just goes round and round. There's no little points, no sharp edges like she said. So we're going to take a look at some corners on our webcam. So remember, when we do our webcam, you're going to grab it here at audio and video, drag it to the center, click this triangle, and then pull the edges to make it big. When you have yours nice and big, give me a green check so I know you are ready. Okay, so we're first to trace to see what our corners are. So here is a special shape, and we can know the shape by the sides and the corners. So we can count our corners. So I'm going to show you one way. I'm going to point and see if you can count with me, and then we'll give it a check to make sure. So go ahead. I'm not going to say the numbers, but I want you to count at home. How many corners do you see? Let's call it out. Ready? Set. How many corners?
6. 6.
I heard 6. I heard 7. So that shows me, yes, we want to see this way to double check. So I'm going to show you a way that if you're practicing at home and you need to check, maybe you accidentally counted one twice or you forgot to count one, you guys can try this. So if you take your shape and you put it on a piece of paper, and these are just the shapes from our math kit, so you guys can always pull this out if you find your student is, whoops, we're counting extra, or we forgot to count a corner, you can pull these out and grab a piece of paper. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give this shape a trace. So right now I'm counting the sides. So it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sides, and so there's my shape. Now I can see everywhere the corners are, and I'll give those a circle and I'll count. So once they have their shape drawn, they can circle 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And you'll know not to count the other one again because you already put a circle there. So let's call it out again. How many corners did we see on this shape?
9. He said 9. 6. What is?
You got it. There were 6 corners on it. So that's something you guys can try if you aren't sure, or whoops, I think I counted one again, or I forgot to count one. Give each one a circle so you know to count them all. Okay, we're going to try another one. And we're going to start with sorting some of these shapes that we're counting. So we're going to look if our shapes have, oh, I got to zoom it out now. Ready? And we're going to look if they have 0 corners, if they have 3 corners, or if they have 4 corners. So let's start with this shape here. Put these up a little bit. There we go. Nice and high so we have room to look at our shape. So this one, how many corners? Go ahead and raise your hand up when you know. How many corners do you see? Okay, let's call it out. Ready, set. How many corners?
2. 3.
You got it. That triangle has 3 sides. I'm going to put it right here on my 3 there. Let's do another. How many do you see? How many corners on this shape? How many corners do you see there? Raise your hand again when you know. See a few more people thinking. When you know, raise your hand. Give it a try. Okay, let's call it out. Ready, set. How many corners?
0. 0.
Yes, I don't see any sharp corners there. It is 0 if I look, if I could just roll it. There's nothing to make it stop like those others. So 0, I'll sort it into my 0. We're going to turn off our webcam. So remember, when we turn off our webcam, you're going to drag that audio and video back, or you can hit that little white X after the microphone and the lines. Make sure you don't close our whole class. But that white X will also pop it back over there, and then you can click the little triangle to close it back up. Give me that green check again when you have your video back in the corner and you're ready to continue with our class. Our Show What You Know page. So you guys did an awesome job on our sort here. Now I'm going to have you count some corners here. If you want to circle the corners, you can, or you could just count them by using your pointer or pointing at your screen. And then give these numbers a circle. So I want to find out how many corners does a rectangle have, and I'll circle the number. And for these, when you're done, raise your hand so I can give you your smiley face and make sure you have your name, and then you'll be all set to go.